Hi everybody, welcome to the Writing Center. It's really great to have you. As I hope you know, April is National Poetry Month, and so this is a great way to get that started, I think. I'm very excited to introduce Donna Hunt to you. I have the pleasure of working with Donna. I am the director of the Writing Center, and she is one of the associates who works here, and she's also an English faculty member here, and so I work very closely with her in a lot of ways. She's been a part of the Writing Center since we first opened that door 2 years ago, and she's been instrumental in so much of the work that we do, including all of the other events that you can see the posters of in the back of the wall. And so I take a lot of pleasure in finally seeing Donna have an event where she is the featured reader and where we can hear more of her work. So let me just tell you a little bit about Donna in case you don't know who she is or haven't encountered her in her many roles at this college before. Donna was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio, which gave her a great love for both the Lake Erie and the Cleveland Guardians. I don't know anything about the Cleveland Guardians, but Donna talks to me about them all the time. And so everything I know about baseball, I know because of Donna. So her chapbook, The Coastline of Antarctica, was awarded the Emerging Women's Poetry Prize, and she won a Pushcart Prize in 2011. Her poems have appeared in Tin House, Ithaca Review, and the Brooklyn Poets Anthology, among other publications. She's received grants and fellowships, including a full fellowship to the Vermont Studio Center. Of Donna's poetry, Robert Polito writes, Donna Hunt performs a complicated stylistic action in her poems that is extremely rare. She is able to register her mind thinking on the page. And Ellen Michael Parker says, the coastline of Antarctica offers an inner landscape teeming with beauty and desire. Donna has lived in 6 states, but recently moved back to Cleveland to write and teach. She reads poetry submissions for the Gordon Square Review, Longleaf Review, and Pencil House. She's currently a Writing Center associate and an English faculty member here at Lorain County Community College. Let's welcome Donna, everybody.
Thank you, Justin. I want to thank all of you for being here. I want to thank Dr. Pongratz for allowing us to do everything in life. And of course, Justin, who maintains everything that happens here and is allowing us to have this event today. I'm going to start with a baseball poem. This is Daylight Savings Time. The microwave doesn't know if I'm late for work after watching the last World Series game, as I throw in that bagel before I head down 220 in the dark or the mist, and now, because of those clocks and the turning back, in the early morning light. I miss baseball, which keeps me up too late but woos me with the structure, the 1, 2, 3 strikes you're out, and the stretching. It's hard for me to admit that winter is coming with the cold and the wind. I feel netted like small birds or large deer when November comes. My phone knows what time it's supposed to be, my laptop too. I go as long as I can pretending I don't understand this darkness at 5 o'clock. The same way I leave my twinkle lights up until at least February. Every bit of light helps. But now it's dark on the way home. Everything's over early or closed. The thing is, if there's a break in October, something happened. A new pitcher, a change of inning. And that's really what happens when it gets dark too early. I can't tell if the inning is over. I don't know who's pitching, who's on deck, if I should be at home or on the road. A clapping audience, I like it. I have a sequence of poems about insomnia, and I'm going to read a few of those. This is Northwoods. If I was a tree, I'd be a birch. Tall, with startling skin and rare in most places. Or a teacup magnolia, blooming early in spring, like an alarm. Everybody, get ready. A tall red pine, green and green, knowing just how to send the wind rustling like surf. Or the grandfather oak that sees and sees and sees. a camper down elm, twisting and turning. Maybe I'd be bee balm or foxglove, making hummingbirds appear. Being eaten alive by mosquitoes is my tragic flaw. Bank a fire with ashes overnight, and I can breathe it back to life in the morning. I can frighten a room of strangers by letting water fall from my eyes. I can pop the perfect bag of microwave popcorn. 2. I got caught in a bog like quicksand once, looking for pitcher plants. Those plants eat bugs. One leg straight down in the bog, my boot held on by a toe, the other leg straight in front of me. I like bogs, in-betweens, always shifting. I sat there for the longest time, stuck, lost, rudderless. I wondered if I was in an enormous pitcher plant, slowly sinking. Sitting there was a little like insomnia, nothing to do, no way out. Listen, you are the first line of this poem. You are the you. I search an encyclopedia of adjectives for you, a dictionary of metaphors in 1,000 languages. I will rediscover my mother tongue and my grandmother tongue and her grandmother tongue. Words like the nightingales in the heart, flowers in Lithuanian, parts of the body in Somali, every musical term in Italian. Whisper into your ears the spy codes of the Navajo, the Russian instructions for constructing the space station. Speak to me in a language only I understand. So one of my best friends and my first reader says about that poem, like, that's the love poem. She's like, that's it. She's like, that's the ultimate love poem. Don't write anymore. So that's it. That's the love poem. 4:26 a.m. I write your name over and over, write a 100-page letter, write you 426 poems, sketch you sleeping. Ink on flowers in the pond we splash through, searching for herons. I use that water to make tea. It is so light and fresh I can taste the buzz of bees. I thought I knew what it is about you that closes and opens. I paint the pine cones gold. I put the sparkle of granite back in the stones that you pulled from the river. I make you a crown of oak leaves. I give you all my words. It is all we have, an epic on the petals of 108 lilies. I pull it apart, petal by petal myself. Dip it in coffee, burn it. I swear this is the warmest it has ever been in the Writing Center. I'm usually freezing here. I wear 3 layers of clothes every day. And now I'm going to die. And so is my sister. I have family here, y'all. This is the first time my family's hearing me read. So I'm swearing less.
It's because we love you.
I also have a sequence of poems about string theory. If you have any questions about quantum physics that can be answered by a poet, I'm your girl. String theory. In this dimension, you are not in love with me anymore. I wish it were another. In infinite dimensions, you are not in love with me. Those Donnas handle it better. Other Donnas accept the cycles of relationships. Some Donnas dye their hair, finally learn guitar. Another Donna travels, basks on a rock, burns it out. Some Donnas sleep it off, take 2 in the morning. Several other Donnas are already dating that other guy. He's tall. Many Donnas catharsis, bake, shop, redecorate. 3 Donnas bash you over drinks and then call your mother. It's better than this. Donna in this world is thrown, has forgotten her address, no longer recognizes her own handwriting. In this poem, we're in the second dimension. Intersection, 1. We are geometric theory, theological calculus, holy arithmetic. We are catty corner, the point where lines meet. A dot, 2 lines, a point, the point. 2 paths converge, converse, in plain sight, slight, the point. Hidden, obvious. My head rests, turned. My fingers trace, caress the edge, the line where we meet. The point. You lean, inches, 2 directions. We are the illusion. We are angles, we angle. We allude, collude, collide. The point, this point, ours. We are not parallel. 2. We meet at the corner, outside. We cross lines, but not too much. We lean, learn, yearn, long along, but do not bend, do not break. I smudge the line. We do not cross. 3. You also have a circle. I can pretend you are a line only, an angle, an angel when we meet, an edge. Outside our point, line, angle, box is your circle. There, you curve, you bend. I remember, a circle is infinite. We're in the 5th dimension in this poem. This is the grapes of Donna. You turn from the bar and Donna throws a martini in your face. Another Donna trips you on your way to the door where you see 2 Donnas keying your car. Your voicemail is full of expletives and the locks to your apartment are changed. Your mother calls to chew you out over your treatment of Donna, such a sweet girl. 3 Donnas giggle from the corner as you head to the convenience store for beer, and 4 Donnas jostle you roughly in the aisle with the Twinkies. At the counter, Donna is impatient and rude while you pat your pockets for your wallet. It's gone. You storm out beerless, slam the ringing door into someone that is unfortunately not Donna. The big guy asks, "What's your problem?" as you shove past him into another identical big guy. Just between them, you glimpse 11 Donnas with folded arms and gleaming smiles leaning on a red truck as the big guy conveyor belt crowds you against the brick wall. Which you should be thankful for, all the Donnas who stayed in tonight. This is the second baseball poem and the last baseball poem. My friend Jason Koo is a Cleveland native and phenomenal poet. In his first book, he has a poem entitled How to Watch Your Team Lose Game 7 of the World Series. He was writing about 1997. This poem is How to Watch Your Team Lose Game 7 of the World Series again. You can't. And because you can't, you gather with your best squad of Cleveland expatriates at a bar in Union Square. Hopeful. Despite lessons of growing up in the relentless winter of your town and years of almost wins, you are hopeful. Because a kid from Akron taught you everything can change, even in Northeast Ohio. Despite the steel mill depression and 50 years of sports drought, believe, he said. And you did, because Clevelanders do. On weekends, heads bow, but shoulders also hunch. Endurance is a hard lesson. In June, the world began again and lit up the sky with joy and fluttered downward. Now, in October, a beautiful but unpredictable month, weeks have been spent singing to Jose and chanting for Frankie and partying at Napoli's as Noah forces you to drink something foul for good luck. But the agony has stretched as far as it can go, and everyone remembers, but refuses to mention, another Game 7, a blown save, a blunder at second base. Your emotional memory, like so many Clevelanders, is strong. You live under the shadow of Red Right 88, the drive, the shot, but you're not that city anymore. You are world champions. But you spend most of tonight like the previous 3 games, nervously finishing the remnants of other people's fries, moving your eyes from one television to another, from one friend's face to the other. Then it happens. Bottom of the 8th. Rajay Davis. His name means victorious king. Time stops. Everyone ever connected to Ohio starts screaming, "Oh my God." Jason's hand palms your entire head like a basketball, and he is jumping up and down. Or you are jumping up and down. Or the whole bar has lifted up in exaltation and is shaking. Jen is sobbing, and you're holding on to each other while simultaneously dancing with everyone at Brother Jimmy's. Whistles are blowing, LeBron is flexing, Hammy is doing what he does best, clearing the 19-foot wall. We are tied at 6. But in this world, somebody loses. The rains come, the tarp is pulled out, the momentum shifts. Yet I tell you, there's a room a breath away from us where all curses are broken. And you and Jason and Jen and Adam and LeBron and Noah and Danny and Kevin and even Joe and all those Cubs fans are held in the beauty of this moment. All runners safe at home. Most of you here know that I work at the ballpark in the summer. And because I work at the ballpark in the summer, I got to read that poem to Rajay Davis. It's one of the greatest moments of my life. He's very nice. He's Kelly's best friend. This is my last poem. I want to thank everybody again for coming out and putting up with our hot room that's hot for the first time ever. I really appreciate it. Thanks again to Brenda and Justin. This is If I Had Tired of You First. You want space and I want to give it to you. How much is enough? 300 miles? 5? 734? I hit the road. Maybe I'll drive to the Cape, see Marge Piercy's garden. Sorry, global warming. Sorry, dinosaurs. Tonight, I choose my mental health over my carbon footprint. And man, that makes me feel bad, but my brain needs to be tuned at 70 miles an hour. Okay, 85. Windows down, roof open, FM blasting. Radio is the sound salvation. Radio is cleaning up the nation. Said I get water on the bathroom floor every time he cleans it. So a grand total of once? Who are you telling your troubles to right now? Sasha with the long hair or Sasha with the short hair? I know this part of the New York Thruway like reflex. Numbers become meaningless. I have a joke for every go, Wanda, go, exit. I know where the rest stops are with a Ben & Jerry's, a crazy taxi, a space-time disconnect. There was something in the air that night. The stars were bright. When I was 13 and we were driving to Myrtle Beach, my sister looked at a semi pulling another semi and whispered, "Those trucks are doing it." Tonight, truck menage a trois, household of 3, my giddy aunt. At this rate, household of 1, looking awfully sweet. I'm not your land of Canaan, sweetheart. Road sign now urges me to choose between New York City and Montreal. If I start taking every left exit, will I end up at the North Pole? We never did too much talking anyway. I drummed the steering wheel like a Muppet, with every beat countering every mistake, every misunderstanding, miscreant, misfire. You won't understand this mishmash. Here's the ocean. Feed the cat and be out when the bulbs bloom. Thanks, y'all.
Hello, everyone. My name is Logan Anthony Jonah Krasik. I am a student at LCC, studying to be a history and German language teacher. I love writing, especially poetry. I have 3 poems to read today, and what I would call neo-traditional, if there's a word for it. I love to express older themes, especially within people. I love to rhyme, so bear with me here. I chose 3 poems because there's a verse I heard the other day. There be 3 things too wonderful for me, 4 I can't understand. Cursed be the cutter. Cursed be the cutter. No, I did not stutter. My ancestors worked the land from many a small hand to the smallest of pioneer bands. We fled from that dark desert of unholy sands and came to this land of piney hollow and tall oaks smoked with the heavenly fire of nature's invention. I now stand, make ready, and take aim for your attention. On the streets now I walk every day with dog-worn shoes to display. The sign hangs there where branches and birds used to rest, where the deer and fawn laid to rest. Even long ago, some Shawnee ran as far as he could go. What echoes now stand? Where and who let them go? Cursed be the cutter. Government make no payment for trees. They only take and build what they please. Cursed be the cutter who fell those oaks. Oh, how the great grove was hurt. That holy dirt, bush, and bramble, all were useless to the richest hands to tangle. Cursed be the cutter who tries to will this land ill profit against the prophet's plan that was already set into the skies. Who could afford a house this size? Only paper green is good for bets and buys. Cursed be the cutter who lies. So now I mourn that the whole forest was torn, and many people laugh and may scorn. Nobody cares for the woods anymore. My heart beats with muskets of fire. My mind is filled with rage, lies with threats uncaged. My body lies burned like the bark that lay on the ground. Piece by piece like the wood, little islands of wild are cut apart where they stood. Like the people of the land, they were pricked and defiled. But only the memory is kept by the meek and the mild. This great spirit and creator, father of ours, has given us this good, but we tread upon it wherever we stood. We can only do what we should to love and to protect. The fruits of our labor will take effect. Bless this holy wood, and then you may rest. There we go. Yeah. This poem is about what I've personally seen. I live in Olmsted Township on Bronson Road. I can't stand how they keep developing and cutting down the woods on my street and building houses that people in my neighborhood, most of them have chickens and everything, can't afford to live there. So they're just cutting down useless forests, and they're doing it all over Ohio. Constant suburbia. Deforestation is a deplorable thing to me. I love nature. I'm a hunter, so it's a very important part of my life. So to quote Dr. Seuss, unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. This other poem I wrote the other day, I have many veterans in my family. How can a man fight for peace? How can one fight for peace? War of words or war of swords? Too many mashed heads, to the blood that we shed, to the blood that we shed. To the pain that tores, can you hear it as it roars? It tores the sea, it tores the east, it pours upon the strong and the weak. Like a horseman it soars through wires and pyres of all, that we are all startled in the belly of this beast. How can one even be at peace with a whirlwind of reckless hate about him? To the ghosts that paint his mind, and the gate to hell that looms behind. To what can he be found and seek to find? What peace even is there? What is but scraps to be unwound? And yet don't we all just return to the ground? How many foes fought for freedom, only to be led back into chains? How many woes did the widows wane over the men who have no name? How many heroes are made to villains? Oh, how the good surrender to do evil. Answer, that men in trenches, knee-deep in peril, sang shows and Christmas carols, that the blues died to make men free, that many a pardon was granted for the honorable to flee. And so with glee, until all men can rest, under one tree I sit and wondered, peace in our time, when will that be? Oh, well, that's me, now you. How can one fight for peace? That poem is modeled on, I was inspired by Walt Whitman's O Mio Life. The answer refrain is very important to me. My parents are immigrants, my grandparents are immigrants, sorry. But the Christmas truce is what I would like to call one of the greatest parts in human history. And that's why I decided to write it. I wanted even though it's one verse, that's what the poem is more about. So, the last one, stereotypical, it's a little bit of a love poem. If you've read Catcher in the Rye, I'm sure you'll get the point of this one. Where are you, Sally? Where are you, Sally? Lay up, lay down, get up to start your day. It don't matter to me, I'm just calling and hoping in the future you'll set me free. I'll be up all night, praying you'll come into my life. Holden, out for you, would be better than any golden land for a man to fight. Where are you, Sally? Are you just an SOS call away? I keep walking that fine telephone line, just hoping I won't stray. Worthy is not what gets me. It's the devil's jury that leaves me hung out to dry. Where are you, Sally? From this day till the ending of the world. When are you, Sally? On this New York carousel of unwound time. I can only wait. I can only hope I see Sally in the morning as the confidence of all who live and breathe that is and never was. Tomorrow, tomorrow. I hope I can see Sally and fight her cause. But even as I see fearful odds, I will lay down my arms at night just to hear her heart's pause. Poems in reference to famous novel Catcher in the Rye. It is what I think Holden would feel about his feelings with Sally, the girl that he calls on the phone in the book often. The poem also expresses some personal feelings of mine. Lastly, I would simply like to say the words Robert Kennedy once said in his speech to Martin Luther King about Martin Luther King's death. My favorite poem was Aeschylus. He once wrote, even in our sleep, pain which cannot forget falls drop by drop upon the heart, until in our own despair, against our will, comes wisdom through the awful grace of God. Thank you all for listening to my poetry. My poems can be found on Instagram, Logan Krasik, Slovenian last name, so it's kind of hard to look it up. But and my book is coming out next year called Pen is Mightier Than the Sword. So thank you all for listening.
Thanks so much, Logan. That was great.
Okay. I'm Kevin. Make sure I've got the right version here. Yeah. Okay. We'll go. Eating apples in the car with my father. Something about Frost and his two-pointed ladder took me back to the day you pulled off the main road at that orchard sign in our 65 Biscayne, tires on gravel slag, and we walked huddled tree rows, tugged gnarled limbs, so we'd bagged 2 pecks, 1 Macintosh, 1 Golden Delicious. You handed folded dollars to the man in cap and apron, stained by the cider press, then offered both bags to let me pick first. Back in the car, we pulled slowly away and bit out big chunks to white pulp centers with dripping chins. Once home, we left our evidence, the Browning cores, right there in the dashboard ashtray. I don't recall if we spoke a word.
Thank you, Kevin.
Okay. Let me just pull these out. Okay. Hi, I'm Lanaya, but I go by Naya. I'm also an LCC student. I'm going into my 2nd year, and I'm going for social work. I'm gonna give like a slight trigger warning on some of these poems, because they can be sensitive. This poem is called Then and Now. Somewhere in between then and now, my eyes went from full of hope to what's the point of living. My clothes went from tight to baggy. Room went from bright and bubbly to dark and ugly. Razors were once meant for shaving, now they're used as a way to cope. Coping with the demons following me from my past. The tears, the cries for help that no one seems to grasp. Fighting with my inner child, making it all my fault. Pushing my feelings and past and locking it in a vault. But the demons break away. They still prey. They hide and come out to play at the worst times of day. Somewhere in between then and now, my body was once safe. My body image didn't matter, but somewhere in between then and now, life knocked me down. I still get back up and fight like no one's around. Wake up with a smile instead of a frown. My body and mind are tired, but somewhere in between now and then, it will all be over. So that's my first one. And then I have a second one called Ages. 10, life got hard. If only I knew how bad it would get. Crying in my bed after he stole my innocence. Robbed from a place that was supposed to be safe. Going to school the next day pretending I'm okay. How could no one know? Silent cries at night, yelling, telling myself I'm all right. But what I didn't see is how much damage it really did to me. I was supposed to be playing with toys and not worried about the next time he would make me bleed. One night destroyed my whole life. 14, I was numb and alone, had no clue what to do, but a strong feeling of wanting to be gone. I thought about ending it, but never did. Wearing long sleeves to cover the scars. Wore a big smile while everyone was around, but at night is when the demons come around. The demons I can only see, begging and pleading to them to just let me be. 16, March 28th, 2021. I picked up those pills and took them until there were none. I sobbed on the floor, laying and praying this was the end. If only I knew what I just began. It's okay, Naya. You're stronger than this. Nobody called, nobody visited as if I wasn't missed. Mom was angry and didn't care. I felt so worthless and hopeless, thinking this isn't fair. Why try if my end goal is wanting to die? 18, I didn't expect my life to be like this. Cutting my wrist to cope with pain. A smile here and there, but it's all fake. Bad dreams were alligators eating, Bad dreams were once alligators eating me and not him. We're not going to skip that part. I was just a kid. I don't understand. What could a 10-year-old possibly have done so bad? Getting A's and taking care of siblings just for my mom to notice me. It all meant nothing to her. She was just waiting to brush me off her shoulder. I still loved her, though. I don't really know why I still lay in bed at night, screaming and crying. I do not know what I was saying here. By the crying with burdened memories. I don't even know. Okay, that's the end of that one.
Hi, my name's Carrie, and Carrie Krushinsky, and I work here at the Tutoring Center. During the pandemic, my best friend and I were like, what are we going to do? We're going to write poems. Like, we had poetry prompts and, trying to figure out what to write about in our house because we weren't going out. So we settled on one of our poems was an ekphrastic poem. So we were writing about a piece of art, and this happened to be a picture that my mom received a painting from her grandmother of Jesus looking over the city of Jerusalem. So this is what I came up with for that. Predestination. Twilight settles early in the Kidron Valley this time of year. The only light comes from the waning gibbous moon and the few fires that cook a family's meager supper. In the lower part of the city, the poor gather around bonfires, cooking scraps found while scavenging. Christ looks west from his perch on the Mount of Olives, towards the city of Jerusalem. The cock is ready to crow, a simple act warning of coming brutality. He wants mercy for the ability to dwell a natural lifetime with the people he loves, to stay human. He understands the reason he was born. His 33rd birthday was a harbinger of suffering. When he hugs his mother, she stiffens, bracing herself against the inconceivable loss of her firstborn. Mary doesn't love him as a deity, but a little boy who, when he bloodied his knee, cried into the deep folds of her favorite blue robe. Near the Temple Mount, he hears the incessant call of a nightjar. 2,000 years from now, theologians will claim the nightjar was mourning the imminent loss of God's only Son. But Christ knows better. The nightjar cries out because that's the reason it was created. And my last one, second one, is called Haints. And my family, my parents were born, and my dad was from Kentucky, my mom is from West Virginia, and my grandma from West Virginia loved to tell me about haints. She's like, anytime you see steam rising on the road, it's the soul of a dead person. I was easily scared as a child, and she enjoyed that. So, but I looked up the meaning of the word haints, or where it comes from, and the word haint is an alternative spelling of haunt, which was historically used in African American vernacular to refer to a ghost, or in the hoodoo belief, a witch-like creature seeking to chase victims to their death by exhaustion. So obviously, it's an uplifting poem. Haints. I descend from women who took to beds, barca-loungers, and sofas determined to die. They are haints, wisps of vapor on hot, still nights. They run through woods calling to each other, a ghostly game of hide and seek up and down the holler. Old women hear husbands killed in a mine collapse 50 years ago coming home, lunch pails creaking as they swing their arms. Young women who gave birth to stone babies feel warm milk drip from nipples never suckled as they listen to giggles from mist forming outside their kitchen window. Graham spent her life listening to specters as she made tinctures and elixirs for the sick and lovelorn. On a Tuesday in May, she took to her bed, waiting upon the Lord to take her home. He took his goddamn time, 6 years, while her legs withered, praying for permission to join her people.
Hi, y'all. My name is Sarah. I am also a professional tutor here at the Tutoring Center. I have finished 2 poems in my life. One of them is this one that I just wrote. That I guess I'll read. I just got back from a trip to San Antonio. I went to the College English Association Spring Conference. So I wrote about the Riverwalk because it was the first thing on my mind. Riverwalk, loud and buzzing nightlife, romance, adventure, music, darkened private corners. But the tourists inch along like diseased livestock, so slow. Strollers, toddlers, phone-focused walkers, rubbernecking families, elderly plotters, smells of garlic, queso, fish, barbecue, music far too loud for conversation. So hey, now you've all been to the San Antonio Riverwalk just now. And then this poem, which is, something that I've actually written and edited and all that, started life as an imitation exercise when I was in my MFA program. So the cadence and the syntax of it was inspired by Stuart Dybek's short story, We Didn't. And this is called I Couldn't. I couldn't in the morning, I couldn't in the night. I couldn't on the sun-dappled lake, or between the empty rows of theater seats, or on the 4th of July when the bright, distant explosions would have deadened my voice. I couldn't at your family's cabin, under the redwood trees you had played among with your brothers as a child, or in the moonlight of my great-aunt's crumbling courtyard, which smelled of the gardenias and jasmine she cut in the autumn for my grandmother Colette. I couldn't in your father's den, where his trophies glowed in the fireplace light like tiny golden sentries with stern, vigilant gazes. In the final days of our favorite meeting place, a moss-blanketed hollow now lost to townhomes and weekend shoppers, where I imagined the charms of the natural world were ours to keep, above the diving and dipping streets around the Seattle Space Needle, where you first enchanted me with the poetry of Longfellow and Emerson, and your eyes, bright against your deep tan, were the epitome of enthusiasm. In the stillness of the cemetery, as I wiped salty tears from my pale cheeks and smeared them over your casket and whispered, I should have told you the truth. I couldn't.